Welcome to this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, and of course via Roku via the BS3 Network. I am KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. Welcome to this edition of the Takeover. Reminder, or if you're new to the show, don't be a stranger. Come again every Thursday at noon Central Time here on the YouTube channel for the Houston Roundball Review. But if you have Roku, you can download BS3 TV. If not, you can go to bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. As I promoted, as I've mentioned, discussed, shared on these social media platforms such as Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Have an interview with the AD for the University of Houston, Mr. Eddie Nuñez, will be on the first part of today's show. And then second part of the show, probably pretty brief, may talk some Rockets, some other things like that in the second half of this edition of the Takeover. But if you have comments to share, feel free to type those comments on YouTube and on that chat box, excuse me. If you want to make a contribution via a super chat, super sticker, you can do so as well on that next to that chat box on YouTube. But without further ado, and just let you know, as my chat with Eddie Nuñez is on the screen, feel free to comment on anything you hear, anything that catches your ear. If you have questions, I will still be here, and I will post those comments throughout the interview. Okay, let's enjoy this. The interview is a good discussion. I think it went pretty well. It's about 30 minutes. So here is my interview with Mr. Eddie Nuñez, the University of Houston's athletic director. Official title, what is it? Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics. Y'all know how it is about titles. But here you go, my interview with AD Eddie Nuñez. I'm Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, and with me is Eddie Nuñez of my alma mater, University of Houston Athletics, VP. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great as well. Thank you for doing this.
No problem.
This discussion, chat, conversation is centered on, I'm curious, your thoughts on with the ruling by Judge Wilkin on the NCAA versus House settlement. Your thoughts initially on that, and then I have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of us that have been going through this process have been prepared for this. We've all known that if it's going to happen, we need to be ready and putting ourselves in the right position, and we're excited for it. It's start of a new era for college athletics. We knew it was coming. There's been bits and pieces of it happening already. And from my perspective, it's an exciting new time, because if we're ever going to put athletics in the right position, this is the way. This is part of it. This is a start, but this is part of us trying to get to where we need to be. So I'm excited for it.
Have you, as lead rep for Houston Athletics, has the department, have you determined the percentage for the payout to the student athletes for the sports?
We're pretty close. I would tell you we're pretty close. Part of it is still understanding all the nuances that, again, as that got rolled out, the judge did her ruling. As you've seen, things have continually been spun out from the CSC, the new College Sports Commission, and everything else. So what we're trying to do is put all that in perspective. It's not going to be much different than what you've seen at some other institutions with some of the percentages, maybe a little bit more or less. As I said in the beginning, there's going to be more for us on the basketball front than most schools are doing, because we want to make sure that we can sustain that. At the same time, making sure that football has everything they need to be successful in this league. So from our perspective, those two are going to be the ones that need to be focused on more than anything else. And then we're going to look at all the other sports that we have and look at the percentages, how they've done for us from the revenue side, and where we feel we can be the best we can be in some of these sports.
Has the settlement had any negative impact on Houston athletics?
No, I really don't. I think we positioned ourselves really in a great place. We knew what was happening, and for us to continue to have the success that we were garnering here, that in every sport, it takes us to make sure that we had a plan in place. And so, honestly, not really at all. I think it's more anticipation, making sure that that the plan that we have laid out gets executed as best as it can. It's not going to be perfect. We know that. Everybody's going through this. We're trying to figure out the nuances. And but the one thing I know is for certain that this is the right path for college athletics. It might not be the perfect path. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be other iterations or changes or things coming down the line. But this is the right path. And for us, we have to embrace this. And that's where I think, when you hear coaches and administrators and everybody out there talking and trying to pull the negative or the what ifs with the unknown of what's about to happen. The reality is we have to embrace this. We have to try to live within the parameters that are given to us. If this is really going to have a chance to be successful.
So, is it safe? Can I ask you?
I don't know if it's safe, but
I'll ask you, and you answer it how you can answer it.
Go for it.
Any danger of any sports being cut?
No. Look, I can't speak for 10, 15, 20 years down the line.
Right, sure.
But I can tell you right now, every plan, everything that we've looked at has none of that being considered. We feel we can be competitive with the sports we have, with the number of sports we have. Is this process going to make us look at things differently? Absolutely. And that's how we do business, how we conduct ourselves here. From a business side, we are pretty nimble when it comes to our budget. We're not as grand as some others. So we've been able to really refine those areas. We still have to build a lot of revenue and grow our department. But within that, we're able to do things with our programs because we've lived under a certain umbrella for much longer than others. And so that we have to use it to our advantage. Like it or not, we're going to use it to our advantage. And as we keep growing, we will continue to put ourselves in a position where we grow with this instead of growing against it. Because I think there's a lot of people that are fighting it and they're realizing their budgets have probably exceeded much more than they should, and they're finding ways to cut back now. But we're not in that position. We're actually on the opposite end, going and trying to grow, but grow the right way.
When does Houston when does that go into effect for receiving a full share of media rights from Big 12?
It'll be starting July 1st. So
Okay.
It'll be this upcoming year.
How beneficial will that be for athletics, getting more money than Houston has had from a conference, ever?
Well, I'll tell you, even what we're getting today is more than what we've had in the American, which is it's a positive. And so for us to be able to get that full membership revenue, that's going to be immense because, again, we're going into a new era when we're talking about rev-share and where schools are trying to cut back so that they can have enough money on the revenue to be able to distribute. We are able to do a little bit more because we're getting new money coming in that's going to allow us to utilize it in the right places. And so, again, it goes back to taking advantage of our situation. Nothing's ever perfect, but if we can find a way to make this the best and find a way that this is going to allow us to grow, then and that's what we're doing. So you would ask me this a year ago or two, if rev-share wasn't on the table, I would have said I'm extremely excited about the new revenue coming in because we probably had an endless number of things we want to do, from new facilities to this. Well, the fact is now what we're doing is kind of shrinking that wish list to a point where we're saying it's really for NIL and putting in the right places so we could keep growing our department. And that's the areas like mental health. That's the areas like nutrition. That's the operating budgets. Those things that really put back for our student athletes.
In addition to the increased revenue from the Big 12, how are you doing, or how is athletics doing in terms of other streams for revenue?
We had a extremely successful year in certain aspects, and I say that cautiously because it's not across the board. When you look at actuals of budgets compared to what was budgeted before the year, we exceeded a lot of areas, which is great on the revenue side. Even football, we exceeded what we had budgeted for. But the fact is, we're still below what we did a year ago. But when people say, well, why were you below a year ago? Well, you start thinking about, we had Texas here a year ago.
Right.
And that's a huge influx of money for just that game alone. So when you start kind of sifting through all the different numbers in our budget, we were very, honestly, excited to see some of the numbers that we did with merchandising, licensing. Our new multimedia rights is going to allow us to have an influx of money for the next several years. It's also allowing us to infuse some money early into our department. When you think about the numbers of what basketball did in their run, to have after getting all the numbers and having a $6.1 billion add value back to this institution. When you think about it, when someone says, well, how much would it have cost you to get all that advertisement, all the stuff that you got out there? I mean, these are companies that do this nationally. So this is not Eddie here on the back in his office saying,
right,
this is a number. No, this is companies that work with national leaders, our conference and others to tabulate these numbers. To know that it was 6.1 billion, to know that in all our social media platforms, we grew by 50,000 new followers. And you talk about all those different pieces, the viewerships, the engagements and everything else. It trickles all the way down to the university. And people will say, well, how does this help the university? Well, we knew the Doug Flutie back in the days, how they said enrollment at Boston College blew up after that game. Well, we've already seen our numbers here grow since the Final Four till today. They've had highs in enrollment applications, inquiries about the institution. And so all that is positive, because even if we can't add any more students, if that was the challenge, the reality is we're also lifting up and elevating the standards of each of those kids that are now applying. You're probably getting better quality. You're also looking at all those different things. So great successes across the board. I'm excited, but we've had since the end of the Final Four, we probably had 40 or 50 new donors at a significant level. And it's been probably 80 something since I arrived here, new members. And I say that, or new donors. And I say that because it's not just buying tickets. These are people that are actually making donations and doing it at a level that is helpful for this department. So we're trying to go out there and beat the doors down of everybody and trying to get new companies, and show people what kind of benefit the University of Houston truly is for the city and this institution.
Will this season's football have another game for the Houston Blue?
I would tell you, absolutely. We are in the process of trying to work all those magical items out to try to figure out the jersey, the look, the game, how do we roll it out appropriately. The one thing we recognized, because, and you and I have had this conversation, rolling out the blue this year, when we put the emphasis in to do it right, and you had all our partners out there selling it, and it's still one of the greater sales items that we have right now is anything that's Houston Blue. We have to find a way to not I don't want to say maximize, because there's just a lot of ways we can do this, but let's just say we've got to do our best to generate the most we can from some of those different areas, and the Houston Blue is one of those. So we are looking at all sports again as an opportunity. And for some reason, if it doesn't come to fruition, we will know sooner or later. But that's what we're trying to do right now.
You've made a few new coaching hires in the last few months. Your first impressions on how those coaches are doing thus far?
Excited. The energy level is a whole different. Nothing again. They're bringing energy. They're bringing an attitude, a willingness to want to see this department grow across the board. It's not just in their own individual sports. When you talk about raising the standards, it's raising the standard of the student athletes, how hard they work, what they come to the table, the engagement with the community. I think one thing that I've noticed is, even from a women's basketball side, Matthew Mitchell, he loves the social media somehow, some way, even if it's him talking. But that's good because he's informing our fans. He's informing our prospective student athletes, anybody that's out there and saying, look, this is how we do it. This is what we're doing. So you're seeing a lot more of that. Women's soccer he's done a great job. But he's going back and reteaching different things that he wanted to focus on a different way. Softball, we got a brand new coach who was here in the office this week, and she's excited about the potential. And people always ask me all the time, what are some of the things that you look for? And I want somebody who has a tremendous appetite for the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And everyone that we interviewed, there were some ones that you look on paper and they might have more accolades, more accomplishments. But the reality is, are they good people, high character? Have they won at a high level? And do they have that appetite for this opportunity? Because that to me is important. This is a special place, and you can't take it lightly. So, yeah, we're excited, man. It's 3 new coaches. Somebody asked me the other day, said, "Do you like making changes?" I said, "No." I said, "I really don't." I said, "You're onboarding new people, getting them to make sure that they get to know the students, the community, and so it's a lot. Now, it's necessary. As much as I don't like it, it is necessary. So when those times come, and we have to do it, we do it. But I'm okay to take a break until the next time I have to do it again."
A few more questions with you, Mr. Eddie Nuñez.
Bring it.
It's mid-June. How are season ticket sales going for football?
Really good, actually. I don't have the number in front of me. I would have told you. I would have had that. I'll have to text you that later. Okay. The actual number. I apologize. I had it. We met yesterday in our my senior staff meeting, and they told me, but with everything else going on, it went over my head. But I'll get it for you. Both football and basketball are trending in the direction that we expect at this time of year. Somebody was talking to the president about this yesterday, and she asked me, she said, "How are ticket sales and everything else going?" And I think you got to remember, when I arrived here last year, it was basically mid-August. Mm-hmm. And at that point, most of your season ticket sales for football are pretty much done. Now at that point, you're doing single game tickets, ticket packages. And so we really weren't able to take full advantage, or at least put a vision that was what I was hoping to get out of this for this year. We also didn't have a ticket sales force. When I arrived here, that same week that I was hired, they hired the director of ticket sales for us. So we didn't even have a sales force for ticket sales. So we're much further advanced than we were last year at this point. But we still got to keep the pedal on the metal. We got to keep grinding, figuring out how to put more butts in the stadium. A lot of that will come with wins, and when people see the product that Willie's putting out, we know what basketball does. We know what Coach Sampson has done, and now having the ability to sell season tickets to women's basketball, that's something Matthew Mitchell wanted to do, and we want to do it, but we want to do it with the right emphasis. And so we're going to have new things in the horizon. But right now, when you look at season ticket sales for both men's, women's basketball, football, everything's trending in the right direction.
Going back a little bit, explain to the folks who are watching this, ultimately, the College Sports Commission.
Ooh, I don't know if I can explain it.
As best you can.
Yeah. So the College Sports Commission was created as a group, an independent group that can assist this new era that we're embarking upon. The NCAA, redefining what the NCAA does, was part of this, letting them focus on certain championships and certain aspects that they do well, the NCAA, taking a lot of the minutia that was getting stuck, the enforcement, the management, and now since we're dealing with cap management as well as NIL Go, which is, again, figuring out if all the NIL deals are actually per market rate and everything else, all that had to go into a new group. The NCAA couldn't inherit this because they didn't have the means, or at least the correct staffing to be able to do this. And look, for what it's worth, did they have the ability, the reputation that people would have said, look, we believe this is going to work at the NCAA. NCAA they understand this. They understood that they were better in these areas, and they needed to focus to make the NCAA great is to focus on what they do really well. So the CSC was created to be able to adhere to all those different challenges and new paths that we got in front of us today, which honestly, it's what we needed. We need somebody that's going to come, that's going to allow us to do what needs to be done. And we, as I said in the beginning, as administrators, as ADs, as presidents, if we're gonna be successful with the new era of college athletics, we all better buy in and understand that this is all of us in this together, the Power Four and anybody else who goes into the settlement.
I want to say this, and I'm coming from an alum perspective, not necessarily a media person, little combo. With rev-share, with the new money coming from the new media rights deal, the full share, that is not to say there's not a need for the collective. I'm going to say linking Coogs, so that is still important, correct?
Yeah, and that's part of the dynamics of us trying to figure out how do we make this work to the best of our abilities. The way Lincoln Coogs or any of those other collectives out there are operating today are going to be challenged because the new rules are student athletes are basically taking these in. They are finding some of these NIL opportunities on their own or through their channels. So Lincoln Coogs, Link U, those organizations are still going to be associated with us especially for the foreseeable future, because the reality is we still have situations that we're working with them to make sure our student athletes are doing their part on some of the deals they already have in place. So as we move forward, the biggest thing is being we can't just continue the way we've been doing it. And they'll tell you this themselves. We need them. They need us for us to be successful. We all have to be in this together. And so they have been very creative in business-to-business deals that they're working on, and to be able to push more opportunities back to our student athletes through NIL. So that business-to-business component that they have really navigated really well is where we need to work with them to make sure that we get every opportunity for our student athletes to be successful. That's in all sports, not just basketball, football. That's in the baseballs, golf, tennis, everything. And so, listen, they've done. We wouldn't be where we are today if it wasn't for them. They are a big part of the success that we have had, especially in the world of basketball. We couldn't have the recruiting classes that we do for all our sports, baseball, football, everybody included, if they didn't do their part. Was it easy? No. It was a huge lift. But a credit and testament goes back to Austin and all those guys. Everything they do every day. Landon does a phenomenal job for them, and we're appreciative of everything they do.
A few weeks ago, you put out a statement regarding baseball and Coach Whitting coming back for another season. That was kind of rare. Did you? Obviously you felt it was necessary to make a public statement on it, but what was the thought process with that?
The process. So, as I told everybody, at the end of the year is when I typically evaluate a coach, unless something is really troubling with the program, the way there's something within the dynamics, the whole day-to-day situation with the student athletes, then I allow the season to progress up to the end, because I want to see how they manage. Remember, when I meet with coaches in the beginning of the year, they give me a plan, and I evaluate that throughout the whole season. And that's not just wins and losses. That's how they do things, the community impact, the recruiting, how their coaches work with the student athletes, how they work in academics, all those different areas. So as we came to this year, unfortunately, we had Big 12 meetings right after the season finished, and I was in Orlando and didn't have the opportunity. And there was a large outcry in both ways, and people were, I think, feeling like they needed to voice their opinion. And so I just thought it was the right thing to do so that everybody understands. Coach and I have sat down. We've had a conversation. And he understands more than anybody else what the expectations are for this program. Not just mine, but what is expected of this program. And so was more than anything else is letting everyone know, look, we're moving forward. And It's not a jab at him personally. We both have expectations. I hope people have expectations, and we need to be held accountable. And so, and that was really more than anything else is, hey, I'm here to support him. I'm here to support our team. I believe that the plan that he has put out is going to give us a chance. Now the question is going to be, if he executes that plan the way that he presented it and the way he feels like it can, then we're moving in the right direction. If not, then we'll cross that bridge when the time comes. And I don't sugarcoat it. It is what it is. He knows my expectations. I know what he wants to do, and it's a matter of getting to a place where we all feel we've achieved something. So more than anything else, it was my way to tell our fans, I hear everybody, but the reality is I need everybody now to support these kids. If we're going to have any success, right or wrong, stop the negativity and support these kids. If for whatever reason, if the only thing they can get out of my letter is come out and support our student athletes, those baseball, because they're playing their tails off every day, come out there and support them. They need you.
Final minutes with you.
Yep.
Your impressions of the Big 12. I mean, was this your first Big 12 meetings, spring meetings,
Yeah.
starting over in August?
Yep. So this was, I'd tell you this, I've been in 3 other leagues now. And I'll tell you, this was, it was a special spring meeting, because I think it was the first time as administrators, because we had head football coaches there, head women's basketball, men's basketball, mm-hmm. and FAR, our president. So it was a robust group that was there. I will tell you, after every one of those meetings, I truly felt like we were aligned. Like, this is all of us together, and you want to say if we're fighting the fight, or we're carrying the Big 12 flags, strongly. This is where the first time I truly felt like I get it. We're all in this together, because I think in the beginning people are still trying to figure themselves out. Hey, even us, we're sitting in the room and people are looking at us. Well, maybe somebody in the back of their mind's thinking, well, you guys only a half share member. How do you want to look at it? We're still a full member, but we're only getting half the money. Mm-hmm. But it's pretty awesome to sit in that room and know that you're carrying that flag for this conference when it comes to basketball. Football did their part on the first year for our coach, which 4 wins is pretty dang good for him, especially what he inherited. I know he's going to do even much better than that in the future. And you look across and you say, well, we're not just part of this group. We're competitive, and our voice is being heard. So I appreciate my counterparts at every school. I really do. I've learned a lot. Many of them are actually friends and that I've known for years, and we've kind of come up the business together. So to be able to bounce ideas and thoughts during this new challenge of this new world of college athletics that we're in was good. But the alignment was the strongest thing that I would take from it. It was to see everybody on the same page, pushing in the same direction, knowing that we are going to be one of the best conferences if we just stay the course. Last thing with you today. Mm-hmm. Your checklist. I think you make a checklist, of goals for every season. Do you have like something, 1 or 2 things specifically you would like to see for 25-26 season? Wow, I've got a lot of them, unfortunately. I live off checklists. If you look at my dry erase board, you'd probably be scared right now, because it has everything from donor targets to companies to just everything, wins and losses and everything else. So I would tell you 3 focuses for me. Of course, continue to elevate all our programs. I really feel like we have the ability this year to make a strong presence in this league. We got new coaches, but we don't know. That's the unknown. That's the excitement. We have football, where I'm very excited for. So that whole check of being able to do more for our teams and being able to see the success is going to be 1. 2, I would tell you, get in the community continue to build on these partnerships. We've had more doors open up, more businesses that have wanted to get involved with us because of those numbers that I expressed to you earlier with the NCAA. what we're doing, how we're doing business. We got great coaches, great success. So continuing to open that door as much as I can to get more companies in here and showing them that, again, we're not the University of Houston, we're the University for Houston as well. So everything we can do for this city, we're all in. And then lastly is growing all our revenues. And I know that's a big target for the president and everybody else. If I do all three of those, and revenues, there's 10 or 15 different pots in there, however you want to look at it. But if I do all three of those, the one thing is elevating the mission of this university to be a top 50 caliber institution. We can do that as well. If we do everything we can, it will help our campus elevate its standards. It'll help us elevate it. And at whole, people will continue to look at the University of Houston as a destination institution, as a place to go, much more than they ever have. So, I have a lot of checklists, but those three, it's community partnerships, growing revenue, and trying to find a way to put our student athletes and our coaches in the best place to be successful.
Eddie Nuñez, thank you as always for taking time to speak to me. And as you know, and I am not ashamed to say it, I'm proud to say it on all my shows and all the platforms. I am a proud graduate of the University of Houston, and I want to see all the sports shine. And I will do whatever I can, use my platform, be a megaphone to, excel the virtues of my school and my team. So thank you as always, Eddie, for taking time to talk to me. Appreciate it.
Kris, thank you so much. Keep doing what you're doing, and let me know if we could help anytime.
I will. You take care, sir.
Thank you.
There you go. My conversation with Eddie Nuñez, the AD for the University of Houston. We did that Wednesday afternoon. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Crabtree, I saw your comment. I'm going to post it now because that was recorded. The conversation was recorded. Regarding football, besides LSU coming to NRG to face the Coogs in 27 for the Texas kickoff, Sooners come to TDECU in 28. Nothing beyond that. I think Boise State comes here in 30, something like that. But that's pretty much it from the Power 4 conferences that are coming to Houston. And like I said, the LSU game will be at NRG. A little bit past the bottom of the hour. When I come back for the second part of the show, we'll get into it. We'll finish out the show, touch on a little bit of, ironically, some UH baseball news, and then some Rockets news. And there was some, breaking news today regarding Coach Ime Udoka receiving a contract extension. Good for him. No shock there. He wasn't going to leave for the Knicks. He might have helped him get a raise from the Rockets. But you are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E on this Throwback Thursday edition. Appreciate that. And by the way, if anyone, obviously you're watching the show live here on Houston Roundball Review YouTube and on Roku via BS3, I am going to post the interview solo on the YouTube channel momentarily. So after this show, it'll be just the interview, our conversation, for you can watch. If you missed it right now, you can watch the interview together with timestamps for the interview, so you can bounce around if you want to certain points of it. But I just wanted to have this part of the Throwback Thursday edition. It's the dog days of the summer. Things kind of slowing down news-wise. So talking to Mr. Nuñez, it just fit. And I put it in today's show, part of today's show. And Ms. Wanda, I'm glad you enjoyed it as well. So tell all the alums, in case they missed it, the interview will be posted in its entirety and as a standalone on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel between 1 and 1:30 today. So within a few minutes at the conclusion of this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover, which you are watching live on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, and of course on Roku via the BS3 Network. I'm going to play this promo for BS3. It's about 90 seconds, and then come back and we'll close out the show with the second half of today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, Throwback Thursday style. You know how I do it here on the Houston Roundball Review. Be back in about 90 seconds.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the lunch break, takeover of Throwback Thursday on the lunch break on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. I am, of course, KG Kris Gardner, owner of the Houston Roundball Review. You're watching the show via Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, but also on Roku via the BS3 Network. Get the second comment, another comment from Crabtree right here. Let me see if I can get it together here. Crabtree, interesting when it comes to baseball and its need to combat negative energy from the fan bases. Despite that, I see great things for our alma mater in the future. And if you missed it, if you wondered what is Crabtree talking about, first part of the show, I had my interview with Eddie Nuñez, the AD Director of Athletics for our alma mater, the University of Houston. If you missed it, you can go back and watch this show or wait just a few minutes and it will be posted publicly on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel with timestamps, which will allow you to click on the specific hyperlinks to bounce around throughout the conversation if you want to do that rather than listen to the 29 minutes of great conversation throughout. But putting on my business hat before I get into some UH baseball news, which was announced after we had our chat on Wednesday afternoon, the Houston Roundball Review online business directory, saluting my sponsors like the African Center of Wellness Being, Bayou Beat, Beasley Basketball, La Pinto Leon Law Firm, Pruitt's in the Heights, Star Pizza, Byron Riley, CPA, Tejas Brewery, United Sports and Entertainment, same group that is putting on the Houston Cougars UAB men's basketball game in Birmingham, taking place later on, this season on a Sunday, unless things change. And last but not least, VIP Realty and Steve Saxenian, of course, and the Saxenian family. If you want to be part of the online business directory, it'll be on the website, but also you get a mention on my live stream shows. You see the URL right there for the directory. It's also in the description below this video. If you want to do it, as I like to say, reach thousands of people for less than $1 a week. Reach thousands of people. My shows are posted on YouTube, TikTok, Roku, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thousands of views for less than $1 a week. If you want to be a part of it, simply email me at advertise@thehrr.com. Advertise at, some folks say the, some folks say the hrr.com. Now, baseball news for the Coogs. Let me get this right here. This comment from another viewer, one of my oldest friends in life, Mr. Raymond Calzone Sr. Good to hear from you, bro. Enjoy the Eddie interview. Is there any buzz surrounding women's basketball program transfer portal? Not really. Does UH have any female athletes pursuing opportunities like Olivia Dunn? Not on that level, no. Miss Wanda or Crabtree, help me out, and I apologize because I don't remember her name, but we have a UH alum who was a swimming and diving member who was part of the Sports Illustrated SI cover. I think, was it last year or this last season? I think last year maybe. And she enjoyed that opportunity, and so she's now using that for part of pursuing a career in Hollywood. So she might be the biggest in terms of that kind of level of promotion and national promotion and marketing. But other than that, no one on Olivia Dunn level for Houston just yet. Baseball news. Thank you very much for that comment, bro. And I'll get back to your comment, Coogs of Money. Kyle Cheese, bro. Matt Gardner. Y'all know I had to mention this news about Coug baseball. Matt Gardner is joining Coach Whitting's staff. Not a relation as far as I know, unless you go back way, way, way far back. But news about a Gardner, got to put it in there. Thank you, Crabtree. I have a smart audience. I knew somebody would know. Thank you very much. Her name, Ray, that's her name, Alexa Mazzari. She's the young lady I'm talking about, who's an SI cover, an SI issue. Cruise on Money, thank you for that. Appreciate you. Houston baseball coach Todd Whitting announced the addition of 2 new assistants, Kyle Cheesebro and Matt Gardner, ahead of the 2026 season on Wednesday. A member of the 2021 College World Series champion coaching staff at Mississippi State and a 4-time College World Series coach, Cheesebro will assist with recruiting and run point of various operations within the program. Gardner, who will serve as the pitching coach for the Cougs, boasts 3 trips to Omaha with Texas Tech and 8 NCAA appearances with the Red Raiders. As a coach, Cheesebro has been a part of 11 NCAA tournament teams and made 4 trips to the College World Series, including in 2025 when Mississippi State went from being 26-18 on April 28th after relieving its head coach of duties to make an NCAA regional for the 2nd consecutive year. Along with helping Mississippi State reach Omaha in his first season on staff, Cheesebro was part of back-to-back College World Series squads at Louisville. Gardner comes to Houston after 12 successful seasons at Texas Tech, which included 4 College World Series appearances and 37 MLB draft picks under his tutelage. Gardner has overseen pitching staffs and has also worked with catchers and outfielders during his time in Lubbock. I gotta say, coach, you're getting a coach from Mississippi State, coach from Texas Tech to join Coach Whitting's staff. My first thought was, why are they leaving those programs to come to Houston baseball? Second is, how much did it cost UH to pay for them to leave those specific programs in baseball? I think it's a positive. Houston baseball needs a shot in the arm. Got to get to the NCAA tournament next season. I think Coach Whitting understands that. You heard Eddie Nuñez touch on it. He has expectations for Houston Cougars baseball for this coming season, 26 season. And sounds to me, Crabtree, Cougs of Money, Ray, Miss Wanda, that if Coug baseball does not reach the tournament, Coach Whitting will not be coach anymore after next season. I got that impression. Let me know your thoughts here in the closing moments of today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. Some older news that became official Wednesday. The Rockets announced they have signed center Steven Adams to a contract extension. The contract extension is reportedly for 3 years, $39 million. Adams was originally acquired via trade with Memphis on February 1, 2024, but made his debut with the Rockets this past season. In 58 games with 3 starts with Houston in 24-25, Adams averaged 3.6 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 1.1 assists in 13.7 minutes per game. From the start of December, he ranked second on the team in plus-minus rating. That's pretty impressive. Last season, Adams ranked second in the NBA in rebounds per 36 minutes played, almost 15 per, of players with at least 15 games played. He also averaged 7.5 offensive boards per 36 minutes played, which is the highest in a season by any player in NBA history with 40 games played. Dating back to 96-97, the Rockets were the third team to have a total rebounding differential of 500 or more in a season. Adams also played for the other two teams, OKC in 15-16 and Memphis in 21-22. So I think Big Fella has a big say in that rebounding differential for his said team. Salute to him. Steven Adams signing a 3-year contract extension with the Rockets. No shock. He wasn't going anywhere as long as the Rockets did not lowball him, and they didn't. Sir, no worries whatsoever about missing the show. You're working. Be glad you got a job. Man, that's the important thing. You have a job. These shows you can watch them live if you're able to, if you're available to. If you can't, you can watch them on demand. You just pull it up on YouTube via the Houston Roundball Review. It's all good. Just watch the show. Comment if you can. Click on the $ and contribute a super chat if you can. But also hit that like button and spread the word about the shows and about the channel. You do that, I'm good. It's all good right there. And Tandem Nights, I saw it. Shams reported it, I think, first. And then my brother, Kelly Eco, also reported it, wrote about it, and posted it, that Ime Udoka has signed a contract extension with the Rockets to make him one of the highest paid coaches in the NBA. That's good news for him. And another thing, he wasn't going anywhere either. Like I said, the Knicks asking for permission to talk to Ime probably helped Ime get a raise. Nothing wrong with that. He's here long term. Doesn't look like there's any specific years mentioned. Kelly just says a multi-year extension that he signed. Did he sign it or agree to? He agreed to a multi-year deal with the Rockets, so that's good. Another example of continuity for the Rockets organization. If you're watching or watch or participate in the conversations on the Let's Talk Houston Rockets shows, I understand continuity for the Rockets to a point. But I still don't believe that internal improvement from their players will be enough to keep them as the 2 seed in the West next season. I might be wrong. Time will tell. We'll talk about that again in future shows on future Let's Talk Houston Rockets shows available here on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. But in these closing moments, because I'm about to wrap it up, on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, Throwback Thursday style, powered by JM&E, streaming live on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, and also on Roku. Yes, on Roku, via the BS3 Network. Download BS3, get that app on Roku so you can watch shows like this one live or shows on demand via BS3 TV. It is Game 6 day. OKC Indiana. Tyrese Halliburton's banged up. Will Indiana find a way to win tonight, Game 6 at home in front of their fans to force a Game 7 on Thursday? I kind of doubt it, especially Tyrese is limping. And Tyrese said, quote, "If I can walk, I'll play." Unfortunately, this is not golf. Basketball, you need to run. You have to do more than walk to be effective on a basketball court. We'll see. He's a game time decision. He's probably going to give it a go. The Pacers have to limit their turnovers. And some of them, OKC, they force them. They're aggressive. They're swarming. But the Pacers have to be able to see ahead and visualize where the players are coming from on those rotations and make the pass before the rotations come and not dribble so much and turn your back on OKC defenders or those help defenders and giving up really, really too many careless turnovers by the Pacers. And that's what's doomed them in Game 5, ultimately, even though they made a comeback. And then OKC did it again, flipped that switch with the defensive pressure, and the Pacers cratered again to the pressure. Game 6 tonight. Is it over tonight? Will it be done? OKC, boy, it'll be something if OKC celebrates their first championship in franchise history in front of Indiana fans. It's a sweet feeling for a team to win on the road, to win a chip on the road. But the home team fans, well, that's got to hurt. That's got to sting. But so 10 nights, yeah, it's a lot of money for Ime. Shams called it an extension, an 8-figure deal, making one of the highest paid NBA coaches. Talking about Ime Udoka and his agreeing to a contract extension with the Rockets. Again, didn't doubt. I never had any doubt he was going to leave the Rockets. We'll talk about that. We can talk about a future Let's Talk Houston Rockets show, which will probably be Friday night, 9:00 Central Time. So mark your calendars for that. Try to be consistent in the summertime for the LTHR live stream shows, 9:00 Central Time. And we'll do that again. We'll talk Rockets, talk about the proposed Giannis trade that ESPN posted Wednesday. And heck, they even posted a Giannis to Detroit trade, which I already kicked around with one of my buddies up in Detroit. He said, no, I'm kind of okay with it, I guess, but I don't think the Bucks are going to trade Giannis to anybody within the same division as them. But it's nice to talk about it anyway. EI, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you for your comments and participating in the show. And no new news regarding the Coogs Arkansas game in December. Regarding the venue, it's not going to be at the Barclays Center because there's a double hitter there, women's basketball, for the Women's Champions Classic. I said it's going to be at Madison Square Garden, but that has not been finalized and hammered out. My phone calls have not been returned by the organizers regarding the event. Justin asked this question, would Shea be the greatest Thunder ever? For now, probably. Yeah, I'd say not winning the chip. That'll help. It's a good conversation. Justin, thank you for chiming in. And join me Friday. Join me and the other members of the Let's Talk Houston Rockets family Friday night, 9:00 on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel. That'll do it. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the discussion. Hope you had a chance to watch my conversation with Eddie Nuñez, the Vice President of Intercollegiate Athletics for the University of Houston, AD, Athletic Director of Athletics, whatever. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you, as always. Happy Juneteenth as well. Appreciate that kind word. And this is another note. This is also, let's see, what year is this now? This will be 41 years ago. June 19th, 39 years ago, June 19th, 1986. Lynn Bias passed away. June 19th, 1986. I was 14 years old. I remember that because Len Bias was my hero. Probably my last hero I've ever had, Len Bias. If you don't know who he was, look him up. But yeah, he passed away. Drugs took his life. And to show you how obsessed I was with Len Bias, I've said it on this show. I told it to AJ, the host of this show, Andre Jones, years ago. I was so obsessed with him. When he passed away, when I woke up, middle of the night, I promise you, to this day, I believe this. Len Bias' spirit came to me sitting down in a chair by my bed and said, head in his hands, Kris, don't make the same mistake I did. And I said, I won't. And then he faded away. That's how obsessed I was with Len Bias. That'll do it on this edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. Throwback Thursday, powered by JM&E, streaming live on the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel and also on Roku via the BS3 Network. Join me again next Thursday, same time. Might have another guest. Who knows? Here on the Takeover. Thank you as always to everyone. Tandem Nights, Raymond Calzone, Justin, Miss Wanda, Crabtree, Goku, Coogs Our Money, everyone for participating in the conversation. Tell your friends about this show. Tell your friends about the Houston Roundball Review. Tell your friends about the Houston Roundball Review YouTube channel, the website, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Twitter, Alignable, Spoutable, all those platforms for you to reach your viewers, your audience. Advertise at THEHRR.com. Final word, reach thousands for less than $1 a week via the Houston Roundball Review online directory. In conclusion, I'm wrapping it up. This is always my pleasure to have a show and share my thoughts and comments with you. Thank you for taking time out of your day to participate in the conversation. Y'all know it. If you don't know it and you're new to this is for you too. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Everyone, take care. Peace.